my channel. I hope that you're doing well. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Emily, or Emmy, or Em, whatever you want to call me. I go by many names. And I do videos all about life in Canada, living abroad, travel related things. I'm a Brit who moved to Canada almost 6 years ago. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check out the rest of my channel. Maybe there is some more videos that you might find useful or helpful or entertaining. Today's video is going to be the start of a new series that I'm going to do. It's going to be like a quick start to Canada guide in a way. As I said, I've been living here for almost 6 years, so I have gained a bit of experience and some knowledge while I've been here. And these videos are essentially going to be everything that I wish that I knew before I came, or when I first came, things that I wish people had told me, things that I've learned along the way, some of my mistakes, some of the things that I wish I could have done differently. So I can hopefully help you, especially if you're planning to move to Canada, or if you've just moved, or if you're just starting to think about it. These videos are definitely aimed at you. So if you are interested, make sure to check out the rest of my channel, hit the bell notification, because then you'll be reminded every time I post a video. And I do these every single week, so hopefully these will help you. If you have any questions or comments, just pop them down below. I do try to get back to everybody, and if I can't get back to you or I don't know the answer, usually there is someone in the community who does know the answer, so it's definitely worth popping down any questions or comments below. Today's video, to kick off this brand new series, I'm going to do the first step in the Canada journey that I took. I think it's the step that most people take, especially if you are in this particular age group, and that is getting a working holiday visa. So the working holiday visa in Canada is also known as the IEC visa, which is the International Experience Canada visa, and it basically grants you an open work permit for 2 years. And an open work permit means that you can work in pretty much any profession. There are some exemptions, but you can work in almost any profession with any employer for 2 years, and that can be the same employer, it can be different employers, you can change provinces, you can move around. It's very open, very flexible, hence the name open work permit. So it's definitely a great visa to have, a great visa to start. Even if you're just planning on coming for 2 years, if you're planning on coming for longer, it's a really, really good foundation. It's how I started my journey. So that's what we're going to start off with today. You may know that the pools have just opened, so this is a perfect time if you're thinking about applying for Canada, if you're wanting to come to start your application process. Right now, the pools have been open for a couple of weeks, so some of the visa slots have already been taken, but there's definitely still lots available. So if you are interested, it's definitely worth getting in your application sooner rather than later. Before we get into it, obviously there are many visas that you can come on. There's like the student visa, there is a exchange visa, there's a young professionals visa. Those visas I don't really have any experience with, so I'm not going to go into those. This is purely just my experience and the facts I've got off the Canadian government website about the IEC, the working holiday visa. So if you do have questions about those, I probably won't be able to answer them, but I would definitely recommend going to check out the Canadian government immigration website. This is where I got all the information from for this video. It is the best source of information. It is like the place where I got everything that I knew. So if you have questions, you can almost definitely find it on the government website. So if you're not familiar with the working holiday visa, the working holiday visa is open to citizens of a select number of countries. Again, you can find out which countries these are on the website. The visa is open to 18 to 30-year-olds or 18 to 35, depending on the country that you're applying from. And also different countries have different visa options. So if you are in that age bracket and from a country that is eligible, then that's a great start. Again, you can find all this information on the website. There's like a drop-down list of all of the countries available, and then when you click into it, you can see which visas are available. So for example, in the UK, only the working holiday visa is available. I believe it's 18 to 30. It might be 18 to 35. I'm not sure, but it's only the working holiday visa, whereas like in Ireland, for example, you can get the working holiday visa, you can get the young professionals visa, and there's also a international co-op visa, I believe that's what it's called. So if you think you're eligible to apply for the working holiday visa, the first step is to complete the Come to Canada questionnaire. This will essentially help you understand if you are eligible or not to come, and if you are, it will give you a reference number which you need to save for later, because that's how you create your profile to get into the pools. And once you've created your account, you can apply using that reference number that you got from your Come to Canada questionnaire. That's how you can apply to get into the pool. So if you're not familiar with the pools, once you create your profile and it goes into the pool, that's when it can be pulled out. The rounds of invitations differ. Sometimes they're every week, sometimes they're not. They start at different times, depends on which season. So for example, this year for the UK at least, the rounds of invitations started on the 17th of January, and sometimes they happen every week, every 2 weeks, and a different number will be pulled out every single time. So essentially you want to get your application into the pool as quickly as possible, because if you do, then you're going to have a much bigger chance of getting a place than if you do it right at the end of the season. And when you submit your profile into the pool, you can choose where you want your application to go, which pool you want to go into. So as I was talking about earlier, there are different pools for different visas. For the United Kingdom, for example, there's only one pool, the working holiday visa, but for Ireland there are three. There is the working holiday visa, the young professionals, and the international co-op visa. So depending on which one you want to go into, you can choose where your profile goes into. Obviously, each visa has a different set of rules and restrictions and requirements, so you'll have to read up on those different ones, but again, this is just for the working holiday IEC visa. So if you are applying for that one, that's where you put your profile into, and then you wait. So the quotas for each country do differ. For example, Australia, I believe, have unlimited working holiday visas for citizens. So you have an almost definite chance of getting an invitation to apply if you are an Australian applying for a Canadian working holiday visa. But the UK, for example, only has 5,000 spots at the start of the year. And last time I checked on the Canadian government website, for the working holiday visa, there was over 3,500 candidates in the pool, so 3,500 people who had got a profile into the pool waiting for an invitation to apply, and there was only 3,100 spots around that available. So obviously not everybody in the pool is going to get an invitation to apply, and obviously the longer it goes on for, more people are going to go into the pool, and your chances to get pulled are going to be much lower. Whereas Ireland, on the other hand, have 10,500 visas at the start of the year. Last time I checked, they had 8,000 spots available and only around 1,500 candidates in the pool. So the chances of getting an invitation to apply if you are applying with an Irish passport are much, much higher than in the UK. So if you are a UK citizen, unfortunately, it's much more difficult to get an invitation to apply than if you are Australian or Irish. So if you do hold multiple passports, it's definitely worth checking out the different quotas for each country and seeing if it's easier for you to apply on one passport than it is for another. So if you are lucky enough to get pulled and get an invitation to apply, you have 10 days to start it, so 10 days to accept the invitation. And once you start it, you have 20 days to complete it and send it off. So my biggest piece of advice would be to get your documents as quickly as possible. If you can get them before, obviously it's easier, but you never really know when you're going to get pulled, so that can be quite difficult. But you'll need things like police checks. Sometimes you'll need medical checks. There are rules and restrictions on if you've lived in certain countries for a certain amount of time, so you might need to get police checks for multiple countries if you've lived in multiple countries over a specific period of time. So it's definitely worth making sure that you know how quickly you can get these documents and what you need. If you don't get your documents in on time, or you don't receive them in enough time to submit your application, I believe that you can just submit a proof that you have applied for it, and they will ask you for it later. So don't worry too much, but if you can, I would definitely say get all of your documents together as quickly as possible and submit a complete package, because it's going to be so much easier for you afterwards. Once you have got all your documents in, you'll have to pay fees. So there are application fees, but again, all this information is on the Canadian government website, so make sure to check that out if you are unsure. Once you've submitted your application, you might need to go get biometrics. As I was saying, you then have to pay for that, and I'm not quite sure. I never had to do biometrics. It wasn't a thing when I applied, but I believe there are only a certain number of places that you can actually go to get biometrics. So for example, in England, I think you can only go to London, so it can be quite a journey. It's definitely something worth taking into account, because again, that's more money, and obviously you have to do that in a time limit too. I think it's around 30 days, but again, this information is all online, so make sure to check it out. But it is definitely worth bearing in mind that these are things that you'll have to do, so don't be shocked if you apply and then they're asking you for biometrics, because it is just a standard procedure. Some people have to get biometrics. Once you've submitted that, then it is a waiting game again. The application can take a couple of months, so don't worry. Sometimes you might have to provide extra documents, police certificates, etc. So just be patient, make sure that you stay on top of it and that you're checking your emails and checking your account, because they might require extra documentation, they might have questions, but it usually does take a couple of months. So don't expect it to be right away. It will take a little while. If you are approved, if your visa application is approved, you'll receive a point of entry letter. They will, I believe, email it to you or send it to you through your profile. You will need this when you go to Canada, so it's definitely worth making sure that you know where it is, that you can print it off, because that is one of the critical documents that you need when you eventually arrive in Canada. So once you have got your point of entry letter and the relief has finally hit you, then you have to kind of plan to go to Canada. And being prepared at the border is one of the best things that I can say to you. I was ridiculously organized. I had everything in a folder, and I definitely say make sure that you have everything and more than what it asks for. So the things that you definitely need, according to the Canadian government website, are your point of entry letter, which you receive when you get your application approved, your passport. Obviously right now you need a proof of vaccination if you are traveling on the IEC visa. It is a requirement, or I believe it's a valid job offer, one of the two. Again, just check on the website, but I believe that is the case at the minute. You'll also need proof of funds. So at the minute, I think it's 2,500 Canadian dollars. Obviously, these things are subject to change. This is just the information I got from the website. So make sure that you're checking it before you go. So you will need evidence of that. You'll also need proof of health insurance for the full duration. This is really, really important, and it's one of the things that I get asked a lot. One of the requirements of having an IEC visa is to have health coverage for the entire time that you're there. So you will need health insurance for 2 years if you want to be there for 2 years, or however long you want to stay in Canada, of health insurance. There are specific companies that do this kind of health insurance specifically for the IEC visa. If you just look them up, there's quite a few of them. It is quite pricey, I won't lie, but it is a requirement. You do need it. So you'll need evidence that you already have your health insurance for the duration of your stay in Canada. You may also be asked for a departure ticket or proof of funds to show that you can pay for it. So as I said, like, you'll need that standard proof of funds, but if you don't have a departure ticket, then I would definitely say have as much money as possible. I think $2,500 is not a lot. I don't think. I came with much more than that, and I would definitely say come with much more than that, because that is not a lot, especially if you're coming to like Toronto or Vancouver. That's like a month's rent. So yeah, definitely have as much as you can saved. And you should also bring copies of all of the documents that you used in your application. So your police certificate, any of the forms that you filled in. I always bring everything hard copy. I'm sure some people bring them on their phone, but I don't know. I feel like having a hard copy of everything is definitely the best way. Originals, obviously, of like police certificates and things like that. So all of the documents that you've used when you applied. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Super easy, right? I know it sounds like a lot when I'm talking through it, but I never found that it was a super difficult application process. Obviously, you need to be really, really organized, but it is very doable. But if you do have questions about it, or you are struggling, it's definitely worth getting a professional involved, even if you just have an initial meeting with them, just to ask questions and get some of those questions answered or ease some of your anxieties. I didn't personally use one for the IEC visa, but I would definitely recommend it if you do have questions or concerns, because they're definitely the best help after the website. There's so much information on the Canadian government website. I'll leave a link down below. It's the immigration website. It has everything that you need to know. Things change all the time as well, so definitely don't take anything that I have said as proof or fact. Everything that I've said, I've taken from the website, so everything that I have said to you is on the website for you to read through. You should never take any advice from anyone on YouTube, so definitely don't take any of this as advice. But yeah, I hope that it has helped you a little bit, ease some of your anxieties. I know that moving to a new country and applying for visas and immigration can be very, very stressful, but if you are interested in coming to Canada and you want to come for a short period of time, or if you want to come for longer and you're trying to figure out your first step, I really do think that the working holiday visa is one of the best ways that you can do it. It's so versatile, so flexible. You can come for 2 years, work for whoever you want, almost whoever you want, for 2 years, and you can move around and see what fits for you and see what doesn't. So yeah, and even if you just want to come for a working holiday and work a couple of ski seasons in like Whistler, it's perfect. So I hope this video has helped you out. This is the start of my new quick start to Canada series. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button notification so you know next time I post a video. I post videos like this every single week. Sometimes they are informational sit down videos like this, sometimes they are vlogs, sometimes there's something in between. There's a little wild card thrown in there, who knows. So if you did enjoy it, don't forget to check out the rest of my channel. Until my next one, I hope you have the most wonderful day, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye!